Hey, baseball fans, welcome to another installment of Talkin' Rangers Baseball. I'm Hondo, and in a couple seconds we'll be joined by Boppy via the telephone in Modesto. And just a reminder, we're brought to you by sportswagers-selections.com. If you want some winners, check them out online at sportswagers-selections.com. On this 10-minute segment, we're going to take a look at the 2010 World Series and give you our selections on who we think is going to win and why we think they're going to win. And joining me from Modesto on the phone line is Boppy. Hey, Boppy, how are you?
Hey, it's a great year. It's been a great series to watch, both American and national.
It has been. It's been a great baseball season, great postseason, as it usually is, with a lot of good pitching, timely hitting, and highlight reel plays on defense. And Boppy, we have two teams that very few people picked to make it this far in 2010. First of all, give me your reflections. Don't tell me who you think is going to win yet, but give me your reflections on how you feel about the series going in.
You've really got two teams of destiny. Both teams as far as most baseball experts are concerned, came from nowhere to end up in the World Series. The Rangers weren't supposed to be here. They weren't supposed to be able to beat the Tampa Bay Rays with their history, never having won a postseason series before. They weren't supposed to be able to beat the mighty Yankees. The Yankees, were only afraid of Cliff Lee, but Cliff Lee only won one game in that series. With the Giants barely got into the playoffs. They made it in the last 2 days of the season. They were chasing the Padres all year, and only because of the Padre collapse did they get into the playoffs. So the Giants felt like a team of destiny too. I don't know if Philadelphia really took them seriously from the beginning, but I think that anybody who looks at that pitching staff has got to say, we could be in a war here, and I think that that's what it's going to be. We're gonna look at one of the best, most closely fought World Series, I think, in 10 or 15 years.
I agree with most of what you said, Boppy. You got two teams that appear to be teams of destiny. The Rangers, of course, surviving the bankruptcy battle in court, and Chuck Greenberg and Nolan Ryan emerging victorious there to take over the team. Many times this year they looked like they were finished. In early September they were not playing good baseball. And this team, it seems like, turns on and shows its best turns on its best baseball and puts its best foot forward when a lot of people begin to doubt them. I know a lot of people didn't think they'd win Game 5 in Tampa, and a lot of people didn't think that they would rebound to beat the Yankees, particularly after that disappointing Game 1 where they blew the 5-0 lead and the 5-1 lead in the 8th inning. A lot of people go, well, this is 1990 all over again. The Yankees own this team. But this is a new Texas Ranger team, and this team is resilient, and they're battlers and they're fighters, and they have a very complete team. The Giants built on pitching, and in that ballpark which favors pitching, AT&T Park, they've definitely playing their best baseball at the right time. And with Lincecum, Kane, and Sanchez, and the up-and-comer Baumgartner, they're definitely built to win a short series like this best of 7 World Series. So I agree with you. I think both teams are playing well, and it's going to be a great series. Boppy, I want to ask you, before I ask you who you think is going to win and why, give me, for each team, your candidate for a breakout series. Somebody that maybe not a Josh Hamilton, not a Nelson Cruz, and for the Giants, not an Aubrey Huff, and not a Buster Posey, or even now Cody Ross, who has captured the nation's attention with his big series against the Phillies. Give me a candidate for each team that could surprise and maybe steal the spotlight in this World Series.
Historically, I'm going to go back to 1960 and say, although everybody remembers the Bill Mazeroski homer, that was the series where Bobby Richardson drove in 12 runs. He was the best player on the Yankees that year. I mean, clearly one of the best hitting World Series any batter's ever had. I think that that's what you can look for this time. I would say if I was looking at the Rangers, I would say that Ian Kinsler is the guy, because Nelson Cruz, Vlad Guerrero, Josh Hamilton, they aren't going to surprise anybody. But that lineup is so deep that then you get to the number 6. How many times is Ian Kinsler going to come up with 2 outs and the bases loaded? I think it's going to happen a lot. And I think that Ian Kinsler is going to come up with maybe, this is kind of outrageous, but I think Ian Kinsler may hit a couple of grand salamis. I think Ian Kinsler may be the X factor for the Rangers. On the other hand, I think the same goes for Freddie Sanchez, the second baseman for the Giants. Freddie Sanchez is a batting champion and a professional hitter, and I think Freddie Sanchez may have a monster series. He is a pest. He is tough to get out, and he knows how to handle the bat. He won't hit for power, but he may get a ton of hits in this series.
Okay, and my 2 picks to click for both teams. I'm gonna go with for the Rangers, Mitch Moreland at first base, who will be batting 8th in this series. And how many teams in baseball could sport a number 8 hitter like Mitch Moreland, who's come up with a lot of key hits for the Rangers, particularly in this last month? And I'll go with Uribe for the Giants, who already has gotten a couple of key hits for the Giants in the the NLCS, but isn't as highly thought of naturally as maybe a Pat Burrell or a Posey or an Aubrey Huff. In about a minute, Boppy, give me your winner of this series and why you think it's going to come out the way you think.
Well, I really think that the Rangers are going to win in the 7th game, and I think they're going it's going to get to 7 games because Cliff Lee is going to match Tim Lincecum pitch for pitch in the games that they do pitch. I'm not sure whether he'll win 2 games, but because he's there, Lincecum won't win 2 games. So anyway, I think it's going to come down to Game 7, and I think the Rangers they have just a little bit deeper lineup, a little more hitting, and I think that by Game 7, they will have solved the Giants' bullpen. And it's going to be the 3rd starter. Well, the 3rd starter is going to be the guy that's going to pitch Game 7. 3rd starter for the Giants this year is Jonathan Sanchez. And I just don't think that Sanchez has the history that you would want to go in Game 7.
Right. And he showed some jitters. I don't know if jitters, but he certainly struggled against the Phillies. Wasn't the same pitcher that he was against the Reds in the NLDS. I'm going to pick the Giants. I'm going to pick the Rangers in 5. I think they're going to split in Frisco, and then I think the Rangers are going to come back and beat them in Arlington in all 3 games. The reason why I think is because, number 1, I think the Rangers are a team of destiny. All the things that have happened to them this year, beginning with the bankruptcy, Cliff Lee coming aboard in July, and I just think, as good as the Giant pitching is, to have to face that lineup from 1 through 8, when Cruz can beat you, Guerrero can beat you, Hamilton can beat you, Kinsler can beat you, Young can beat you, Molina can beat you, Moreland. I mean, they're just so deep that a pitcher can't relax for 1 second and beat that team. And I think the fact that they were also able this year to manufacture runs, they're not going to be scoring as many runs as they did against the Yankees, not with the Giant pitching. And I think that fact. Also, I heard today, Boppy, that the managing general partner of the Giants wears a bow tie. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I cannot imagine Nolan Ryan from the state of Texas, the Don't Mess with Texas state, who put that famous noogie on Robin Ventura. I can't imagine Nolan Ryan letting his team lose to a team controlled by a man who wears a bow tie.
Well, I will say this: it's not going to come down to bow ties. It's going to come down to the number of zeros that go up on the scoreboard. And I'll tell you what, the pitching staff that puts up the most zeros is going to win this thing.
And I would agree with you there, Boppy. Boppy says the Rangers in 7. I say the Rangers in 5, and we'll be back for one final show this baseball season to wrap up the season and review the World Series after it's over. Thanks, fans, for tuning in. Talk to you later.